Welcome back to Nini's Texas Kitchen. We're back a little bit quicker this time. So today we're going to make homemade chocolate pie with a big old pile of meringue on top. So what you're going to need for your pie crust is you're going to need 1/4 of a stick of butter, and that's 4 tablespoons. And then you're going to need 2 tablespoons of shortening. You need 1 cup of flour. You need 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar with 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and you need 2.5 tablespoons or so of cold water. The other stuff I have out here is where I'm gonna roll it out, and then my pie plate, and then I'm gonna blind bake my crust for a while before I get ready to fill it with the chocolate filling. So the first thing that you're gonna do is put your flour in with your butter and your shortening. I like to use my food processor because it makes it blend up a lot easier. And I'm gonna put in my sugar and my salt, like so. And then I'm just gonna mix it all together like so, till it gets crumbly. And it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to put in the water. Excuse the moronic dogs. They like to bark every time they hear an electronic device go off. You should see them whenever I vacuum. I feel like I'm in WWE when I vacuum to keep the dogs away. Alright, that is sufficient. Lay it out. Don't cut yourself. It's also part of the recipe. Make sure that you don't cut yourself. Like so. Then you're just going to take out the dough and turn it out onto a lightly floured surface like so. Make sure you do as much of it as you can. You can double this recipe to make a double crust pie. So I have my little pie roller out here because it'll help me get it just the right width and all that. So I want it to roll out 9 inches. That's 9, that's 9. Now I gotta go this way 9. You want it kind of thin, but you don't want it too thin, and you don't want it too thick either. And then we're going to cut the edges anyway, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright. Now I'll just pick it up off of here. Hopefully it will cooperate. If it tears, don't worry about it, because you can straighten it out yourself once you get it in there. Ah, that all the way fell apart. I have to redo that. See, even me, I even mess things up sometimes when I'm cooking, and you just happen to catch it on a video this time. I try to make sure I only mess up whenever I'm not on video, but today, no dice. So if that happens, just grab it all, roll it back up, and try again. Might have got it a little too thin. That's probably what I did. There, that's a lot better. Now, I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it up the sides of my pie plate. This makes a soft pie pastry crust like it's real short, so it's crumbly when you make it, but it's really good. It's an awesome recipe. That softness is why it can tear easy if you get it a little bit too thin. So if you just press it, you can shape it. Nobody's gonna see the bottom where your little prints are because it is going to be covered in chocolate pie filling. So we just do it like this. And then I will get out a handy dandy utensil that we use in kitchens a lot called a fork. Now I'm going to, first I'll do my edges. You want to just go around your edges and just like make little creases with the fork. It just gives it a little decorative touch. Nothing fancy. We're just country folk here. I ain't trying to sell this in some high-end hotel somewhere. I'm not trying to be bougie. Alright, so now I just make little pricks with the fork all the way through the bottom, and I'll do it around the sides. And then we go like this. This will help to keep your pie crust from shrinking up when you blind bake it. Blind baking means you bake it before you put all the good filling in there. Now I have a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to lay it in there like so. And then I just have a big old thing of a pound and a half of dried beans, and I'm just going to pour them in and they'll settle in there. And you can use any kind. You can buy baker's beans, but like those little bead thingies, but why spend all that money whenever I can just buy beans, and then later I'll put them back in here and I can cook them later on. That's the beauty of using them, because you can use them again later for what you need to use them for. Alright, now I'm going to put them into my convection oven. And I'll bake it in here. And that way my kitchen don't get so hot. So I'm going to turn on bake, and I'm going to bake it for, I want to leave it at 400. I'm going to do it for about 20 minutes. And then when it's done, I'll just set it out, and then I can make my filling. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Now we're back. Our pie crust is done. It's ready. So now we're going to make the filling, and then we'll make the meringue. So the first thing that we need to do, well, I'm going to set my oven first. So just 350, so when my meringue is ready, I can brown it a little bit. So for the filling on this pie, you're going to need 1.5 cups of milk. We're going to need 1 cup of sugar. We need 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We need 1/4 of a teaspoon of, no, 1/8, so half of a fourth of cornstarch. I'm going to need 3 egg yolks and 1 tablespoon of butter. For the meringue, I've divided these eggs. So I got the 3 yolks here, and I got my 3 whites over here that I'll beat those up in a minute. And when I start whipping those up into a meringue, I'm going to add 1/3 of a cup of sugar and 1/2 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. So first thing I need to do is start heating up my milk a little bit. So you want to put it on like medium-high heat and just start heating it while you kind of move it around a little bit. You want to heat it, but you don't want to bring it to a boil. So you want to see a little steam start coming off of it, but you don't want to let it start boiling. So don't let it do that, because it'll curdle. So you just start heating it up, and once it starts to get hot, you'll be able to tell. Just putting your hand down in there, you can tell it starts to get hot, and that's when you'll add your sugar and all that other stuff. the eggs go and the butter and the vanilla go last. So we'll add the milk, the sugar, the cocoa powder, and the cornstarch into this part. So we're gonna let this heat up and we'll be right back. All right, y'all, our milk is hot. So now we're gonna add our sugar. And I'm gonna add my cocoa. And it'll start like getting in there good after you mix it up and it heats a little bit more. I'm gonna add the cornstarch. Come out of my bowl. Ouch. Messy. Bacon is messy. So now that I've got all these mixed in, what we got to do is stand here and cook it on the stove over medium heat until it starts to get thickened. And then when it gets thickened, then we'll take like a cup of it. I got my cup here. And we'll take some of it and put it over in the egg yolks and mix it in real good, and then we'll put it over here. And then we'll cook it for another 2 minutes. And then after that, we will turn off the heat and we'll put our butter and vanilla in it. So once it gets thick, we'll be back and show you the rest. All right, y'all. So it's all thick now. So now I can add some of it to my egg yolks. And I'm not gonna use my cup because I just want to get it in there. So I'm just gonna pour some in like so. And then put this over here a little bit off the heat. Mix this in like this. And what this does is it keeps your eggs from cooking in it, but you can get it mixed in and then it'll cook in here. That way you don't just get scrambled eggs inside of your pie, because you don't want that. So now continue to stir it over medium-low heat like this. Just for like 2 minutes. Make sure your heat ain't up too high. And you can see how it got thicker in there. It's a lot thicker. So I'm just gonna cook it like this, probably for another minute or a minute and a half or so. It doesn't really need a full 2. That's just how they tell you in recipes, so that you make sure you don't do it not enough time. But it feels like the right consistency to me, because it'll get more firmer even as it cools down, because it's really hot right now. But you can see how it almost looks like a pudding, a little bit thicker than a pudding, which is what we want. 1 more minute. I think it's good. Now I can turn off my heat, and now I'll add my vanilla, 1 teaspoon, and I'll add in my butter. Just mix that in real good. So, and then bring it over here and pour it into the hot crust. There it is. Now, I need to make my meringue. So when you make your meringue, you want to put it on the pie while it's still hot, because it'll help seal it around the edges. So, I'm going to use my handy dandy stand mixer for that, because it makes it a lot easier. Get it done quick. So you wait until you start to get stiff peaks forming, and that's when you'll start adding all your stuff in. Don't do it at this stage, because if you do it, it won't whip into stiff peaks for your meringue. So we're going to do that, and then we'll be back in just a minute. It's ready to add our stuff too, so I'm going to add in my half of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. I forgot to tell y'all we're going to add in half of a teaspoon of vanilla. And now with your sugar, you want to add it slow. So I add in a little bit at a time. And it'll all dissolve in there that way. Don't just dump it in, or you'll lose your air out of your meringue, out of your egg white. So it takes a minute or two to get it all in there. If you don't have any cream of tartar, you don't have to put it in there. It just makes you have a smooth looking meringue. So now that I keep it on hand, I use it. But like I say, if you don't have any, you don't have to necessarily go buy it to put it in there. You can just go with what you got. That's it. I'm just going to let it mix up good for just a minute. That stuff in it. That should be good. So now we're going to turn this off and put it on our pie. And you can see how it's stiff. Okay. This is what you want. Just take it, dollop it on there, all around. Get it everywhere. Smooth it out, and make sure you seal the edge all around the pie. Nice and even, like so. Alright. If you want to pipe it on, you can, but you don't have to. You can just spread it like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to lightly tap and make little curly cues on it. Just because I think they look cute when they brown. Don't like smack your pie like you're mad at it though. Just, you know, gently do your little whips like that. As many or as few as you would like is fine. Now my oven has preheated, So I'm gonna stick it in there. And I'm gonna bake it just for like 8 to 10 minutes at 350. I'm gonna start with 8. Because all I'm trying to do is just get a little slight tinge of golden brown on my meringue. So when it's ready and we take it out, we'll come back and show you. All right, y'all, it's done. And as you can see, I just wanted a little bit of golden on my meringue whoops. So with cream pies like this, chocolate cream pie, vanilla cream pie, coconut cream pie, lemon meringue, whatever, you have to let it cool down completely before you slice it. Because if you don't, it's just gonna go all over your plate, and nobody wants to eat a piece of pie that looks like that. So we're not gonna cut it right now, but this is how you make homemade chocolate cream pie with meringue topping. So we appreciate you guys watching. Come back and see us again next time. Please watch all my other videos and leave me a comment, a thumbs up down below if you like my video. Get your friends to subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time in Nene's Texas Kitchen.